What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is The Walking Dead Season 7, Episode 12, Say Yes. So, all in all, this is an average episode, not a whole lot happened, but there were a few things that are worth talking about that I think kept it from being a bad episode. There are certain episodes that when you watch, you're just like, well, that kind of sucked. The one I'm thinking of mainly is the one from last season where they found Jesus for the first time, and not that way. But they saw him, then they were talking to him, and then he steals their supplies, and they're chasing after him, and they lost. That one overall was kind of really silly compared to what they're going through. It shouldn't be that silly. This one kind of had that same feel. They're seeing all this stuff, they're seeing all the walkers, but oh, they're guns, and so like yeah, and then they fall into a building. At that point, you're like, oh crap, and all of a sudden you hear, I'm like, wait, what? They're laughing about this? It just, I don't know, it seemed a little bit too cheery considering there's a herd of walkers in there. It's not like 20. There were clearly about maybe 60 in there, and just the two of them. So, I don't know, it didn't feel like they were treating it with the proper respect that deserved. However, there were some interesting things, like I said, to keep this episode from being a bad one. So, the first one to talk about is, of course, the Rosita stuff going on. I just find her character very interesting right now because it almost feels like she's going off the rails, but you can understand her reasoning. You can understand her desire to fight. But the whole time, all you can think is, but Rosita, they have a plan. They're doing something. They're getting ready for it. You can't go off now half-cocked because it's not going to be good. You're going to die. Things aren't going to work out as planned. And, there are a couple interesting things mainly with her. The first one, she goes to Father Gabriel. She's talking to him after she found the little, water pistol or something like that. She was looking for a gun, didn't find one, so she goes into the church and talking to him. And she starts blaming him, like, you told me not to kill him, and so I did what you said. Now Eugene is gone, and I'm still here, and Olivia's gone, but I'm still here, and Spencer's gone, but I'm still here. So she's very clearly upset that she's kind of the reason why Olivia's dead and Eugene has been taken away. And of course she's upset about Spencer as well. So all of that makes sense. But I do have to ask the question, does that mean that she missed Negan on purpose? Because when we saw it, it looked like she had shot, but Negan's bat happened to be in the way and blocked it, and so he got lucky. But from what she was saying here, it makes it sound like Father Gabriel got in her head, and so she actually, shot the bat on purpose instead of shooting Negan. And I'm just like, well, that's interesting. What if that's true? What if she actually didn't try to shoot him? What if she was actually trying to shoot the bat? I don't know if that's confirmed or not, but that's kind of what it sounded like she was saying, that she didn't try to kill him, even though she clearly shot at him. So, yeah, that was interesting. And then we see at the end, we see her talking to Tara a little bit about certain things. And then all of a sudden, we see her go to Hilltop. She goes up to Sasha, and she's just like, I need your help. Sasha's just like, okay, but I want to be the one to pull the trigger. And so Rosita pulls out this big, huge sniper rifle. She's like, okay, for your shot. And so it sounds like the two of them are about to go take out Negan by themselves, possibly die or get captured in the process. So, yeah, that's, considering we're trying to build up an army of people, we're trying to get all of them together, and we're trying to form a big team to take on Negan's army. The fact that we're losing two of our better fighters is a little bit disconcerting. But who knows, maybe they'll be able to get Eugene back or something like that. Either way, interesting to see what's going to happen there. The other interesting storyline is Tara's trying to figure out whether or not to tell Rick about Oceanside. Kind of comes out of nowhere in this episode. It feels like they're just sort of talking about guns, and all of a sudden she's there with Judith, babysitting her. And all of a sudden she just starts, talking to her and just explains, oh yeah, Oceanside, I don't know what to say about it, I know what's going to happen. And her reasoning is most likely what's going to happen. She's like, they don't want to fight, so they'll fight us to keep from fighting, and then we'll kill them and take their things, but, they don't deserve to die. So it is a question for her what she's going to do about it. And at the end of it, she says, she tells Rick, there's something I needed to talk to you about. So maybe she has decided that she's gonna try to get Rick because he talked to this one group that they met, the dumpster people, because he talked them into agreeing to their deal, and he kind of negotiated with them and managed to get a little bit of a better deal for them. I wonder if maybe she saw that and thought, maybe Rick can talk to Oceanside. So curious to see how that's going to go. I feel like the next episode will probably be Rick talking to them, or the episode after, depending on what the next episode is about. But yeah, I'm curious to see if he'll actually be able to convince them to fight for them, or if they're just going to be like, no, leave, or try to kill them in the process. So very interesting there. And then finally, was that it? Oh, well, the other one's kind of involved in the main plot a little bit. So, Rick and Michonne are at this amusement park slash military base, I think. Anyway, they go there and they see all these walkers. Some of them are dressed in military outfits, so they know, okay, going to be a lot of guns here. So they go in, they fall into the building, which is pretty much the only way to get inside. And so they sleep there for the night. They, are enjoying their relationship. They're enjoying being together out here in the field doing stuff. Uh, so they sleep there for the night, and then they wake up the next morning. They go. They got to get the guns, and so there's a plan. They take out some of the walkers, and they get into a car, and they're gonna block the gap, overshoot it, so they end up inside. So they have to escape out of the car using the sunroof. They get into the amusement park section of it, and the walkers are just coming at them. Like I said, probably about 50 or 60 walkers. So they separate to where Rick's on one side behind a barrier, Michonne's on the other behind another barrier, but not as many walkers, so they're not going to break down the barriers. So clever there. And so they're taking them all out. Michonne says, "Oh, I have 8 left." Rick's like, "I have about 10." And so he's about to start taking them out, and then looks over and sees a deer. And if you guys don't know, for some reason you just happen to start watching this season, there was an earlier scene. I can't remember what season that was now, but I kind of remember it where Rick took Michonne's kill for deer or something. I think. Maybe I'm thinking of something else, but I'm pretty sure there was a scene where there was a deer and like Michonne wanted to kill it, but Rick told her not to, or something like that. Um, so either way, they see a deer earlier in this episode, and he talks about, I owe you a deer. And so he sees the deer now, climbs up onto the Ferris wheel, and is about to shoot it, but then all of a sudden sees like 10 walkers heading towards it. And of course, the Ferris wheel breaks because we need some sort of tension in this episode. And he falls into the herd, in the midst of the walkers. He takes his gun, starts shooting them. Michonne sees that, starts heading over, and then she sees him being surrounded by the walkers. She gets in, she see the walkers eating something, and you're just like, oh no, Rick is dead, guys. Can you believe it? I mean, I always thought that he would go out in a bang or go out in a blaze of glory, taking 20 people out and then get shot or something like that. But no, he's going to go out because he was on a Ferris wheel, saw a deer, fell off the Ferris wheel, and got eaten by walkers. Wouldn't you know it? Ah, what a main character. So yeah, I say that because how many fake outs do we need? How many times is it going to be like, oh no, somebody might die, and then they don't die? Like, they did it with Glenn last season, now they're doing it with Rick this season. It's just like, come on. Thankfully, though, we didn't have to wait 2 episodes to see that Rick was still alive. No, he pops out of some other thing that he escaped through. Michonne, though, had dropped her sword, and walkers are heading her way. So Rick pops out, pushes a walker off, tosses her sword so she can take out the 2 walkers, and they take out the rest of them. And I don't know. I feel like there needs to be a blooper thing where she sees he's still alive after they've taken out the walkers. She runs up to him and accidentally stabs him, trying to hug him. My mind goes to some weird places, but as soon as she was running at him with the sword, I'm like, please accidentally cut him or something. That would be the funniest thing in the world. But anyway, so yeah, they're still alive. But then this leads to the more interesting part of it, and that is Rick has a talk with her in the van because she's very clearly upset that she had thought he was dead for a little bit. And so he's talking to her about, Glenn and how when he lost him, it was like Glenn had saved him at the beginning, but he couldn't save Glenn, and so he starts talking to her about, you can lose me, I could lose you, we could lose our friends, a lot of people could die here, and just pretty much telling her, that we can't let that stop us, we can't let the loss of people stop us from going forward. And I feel like that is kind of a legitimate thing to talk about now because people are going to start dying pretty soon. So yeah, I hope this actually goes somewhere. I hope it's not just one of those things that they talk about, but by the end of the season it's like all their friends are still alive. It's only like the Alexandrians that we don't really know are getting killed off, and everybody else is fine. But either way, it was a nice little conversation. And then on top of that, we see this kind of leads to them taking the weapons to the dumpster people, and he's trying to give them the guns, but then May's like, need more guns, we need more, and it's just like, okay, like they got plenty of guns and you still want more, like, I don't know. Apparently she said that they needed more because if they're gonna take guns for both sides, they're gonna need guns as well, so she's like, gotta get some more. Rick negotiates his way through it and says, say yes. So that was the whole point of that. When I heard say yes, I'm just like, so what's that going to be? Like, what does say yes mean? And then they get to the very end and it's like, 20 guns, I keep the cat, and such. Say yes. I'm just like, that's what this episode's title is for? That's like listening to one of those new, one of the songs nowadays that the title has nothing to do with the song in general, but they say the title once in like a verse. It's just like, oh, so that's why it's called that? Really? That's exactly what I was thinking when he said say yes. I'm like, what? There's so many other things you could call it, but he says say yes once at the end of this deal that really didn't have anything to do with the rest of the episode, which is getting guns and Rosita trying to find guns and talking about fighting the saviors. But sure, yeah, let's call it say yes because I don't know. But yeah, it was, like I said, a very average episode. The stories involved were pretty interesting, but the execution just wasn't as good as it could have been. It feels like there was so much intensity in the first half of the season that they're like, okay, so we need to slow it down for the second half. Okay, I appreciate that. I don't mind that we slow it down a little bit because it can't be every single episode, holy crap, intense, all the way to the end of the season. I get that. If we have that every single episode, we'd be worn out. So I don't mind them taking a break, but this is 4 episodes in, and still nothing really interesting has happened yet. They found the new people, they got some guns for them, Negan is using Eugene a little bit, now he thinks he's Negan. Some of this stuff, it feels like, could have happened in half an episode, and they're taking full episodes to do it. So I just feel like they need to start picking up the pace a little bit. We need to start getting into the final fight with Negan, because I feel like that's what it's building up to. They're getting all of these groups together, they're trying to tie them together so they can take on Negan. I feel like it's going to be we fight them in the last episode, and then it kind of cuts off on a cliffhanger with somebody dying or something like that, and then we pick up next season with kind of the end of the fight. I don't want that to happen. I want this fight to be a good 3 or 4 episode long thing because it's worth that. It's a fight with the saviors. It's an all-out war. That should be interesting. That should be something we get to watch for a long time. Not just, oh, yeah, final episode, here's your war. That's all you need to know. No. No. I want it to be drawn out. I want it to really play into this season. So I hope that it's not going to be one of those things where they just kind of throw the war in at the end. I want them to start getting into it very soon. So I don't know if that's going to be the case, but I really, really hope so. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What did you like and dislike about this episode? Let me know. We can talk about it and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Walking Dead reviews, and I'll see you at the next one. Peace out.